Welcome to our podcast. Today, we dive into Donald Trump's promises for Black Americans, notably his New Deal. An intriguing claim given that no previous president has openly acknowledged such specific commitments before. To dissect this, we have with us Professor Johnson, a renowned historian specializing in political rhetoric.
Thank you for having me. Trump's proposal indeed marks a noteworthy shift. Historically, presidents have steered clear of framing policies in such a direct address to the Black community. A factual cornerstone of this deal is its emphasis on security, education, and employment. It's a narrative reversal where history often saw Black neighborhoods underpoliced in services yet overpoliced in scrutiny.
Exactly. However, we must pause to consider the perceived sincerity versus the real political expedience. How do we reconcile the cycle of promises around election time with tangible outcomes? We've seen promises fade in the past. What's different this time?
A critical question. Anecdotally, this echoes FDR's 1930s New Deal aimed at economic recovery. Trump's rhetoric suggests a systemic overhaul, advocating mentorship and rehabilitation over incarceration. Yet skeptics argue that systemic change touted by generations remains unrealized. It's future-gazing, hopeful, or hot air. Time will indeed tell.
Moving deeper into the New Deal's safety promise, what might constitute safe for historically marginalized communities? This isn't just about more police, but redefining safety scopes. What insights can you provide on this transformational outlook, Professor Johnson?
Great question. Safety in Black neighborhoods is multifaceted. It's about transforming spaces traditionally policed as threats into thriving, supportive environments. The historical narrative ties this to systemic distrust, where safety meant survival strategies, not societal supports. A narrative change could mean infrastructure investments like street lights and active community centers.
Fascinating. But what about the counterargument? Some critics might say more funding could just deepen paternalism without empowerment. They're wary of top-down solutions appearing like benevolent policies that maintain the status quo. Is this a valid concern?
Indeed, it's a potential pitfall. Critics argue without local input and empowerment, policy changes may reinforce existing disparities. Imagine inclusion-driven councils where residents lead safety definitions. This aligns with a forward-looking aspiration for communities dictating needs, thus breaking cyclical dependencies.
In summary, reimagining safety needs grassroots involvement. This connects us to the educational component. How does Trump propose to tackle historical educational inequities? Education is another pillar of this New Deal. Despite legal desegregation decades ago, educational inequity persists. Can Trump's educational promises genuinely change this, or is it merely rhetoric?
Trump's plan tries to answer this by advocating for better resources through charter schools and skill-focused training programs. Facts show Black students disproportionately attend schools with fewer resources and outdated materials. Anecdotes abound of students overcoming this, yet systemic inequities stymie potential. Transformative change demands equitable funding distribution regardless of the neighborhood.
True, quality education should not depend on zip codes. Critics, however, worry about charter schools potentially diverting funds from public systems, exacerbating inequality. How do we address this valid concern?
Agreed, there's risk there. A more inclusive alternative may involve hybrid models where public and charter schools coexist, sharing best practices, a trend some districts are piloting with promise. The forward-looking vision will require rigorous oversight ensuring both funding equity and academic excellence are maintained.
Intriguing ideas indeed. This segues into our final discussion on economic empowerment and job opportunities. On to the economy. Trump's promise of revitalizing Black neighborhoods with high-paying jobs resembles a revisionary economic justice narrative. How feasible is this proposal?
Economic empowerment via local investments is ambitious. Consider the historical context. Post-Reconstruction, African Americans received labor roles without ownership rights. Factually, Black Americans today own less than 2% of U.S. wealth despite centuries of contribution in industries.
Absolutely. The notion is exciting but isn't without contention. Some suggest policies like opportunity zones may offer tax breaks with minimal community benefits. Could this simply enrich developers without uplifting residents?
A legitimate challenge. Real-world examples have mixed results. Some neighborhoods transform while residents face displacement. Ensuring policies specifically benefit current residents through favorable hearing practices or community ownership initiatives could shape a sustainable future. It imagines a transformation wherein thriving neighborhoods aren't just dreams.
Indeed, the hope is policies evolve into actual progress for Black America's future. Stay engaged as history writes itself through today's actions. Until next time, thank you, Professor Johnson, for illuminating these discussions.